What's up, y'all? It's your boy AJ, and I am back with another Into the ChannelVerse video. Um, I have 2 episodes out right now, but this is episode number 3. I am very excited for the guest that I have on today. We have known each other even before my channel started, even before his channel started. So, like, I have a lot of respect for this guy. I really look up to him, and he inspires me a lot. So I am pumped to get into it. I'm excited. So let's go. Derek from Pure Hangout, what is going on, man?
Hey,
I am so excited to have you here. How are you? How you doing?
doing pretty good. Yeah, thanks for having me on. I appreciate those kind words you just said. Really appreciate that. You said I inspire you. You're one of the main inspirations for my channel. I mean, if you didn't have a channel, I probably wouldn't have a channel,
See,
honestly.
with that, I love that. Like, inspire each other. Like, I love that.
Yeah, you got
So
me into
much.
this.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love to hear that. So I wanted to start the recording with like a little something special. I tried to the last one, I guess I tried to do like a little icebreaker. I don't think we need an icebreaker, but I think this could be kind of fun to do. So I came up with something. One best picture will remain, must remain.
Oh,
And I got 4 here that we're gonna do a little process of elimination, and I'm gonna see where your head's at with these.
must remain.
Yes, so you have to choose one. Get
To
rid of
keep.
the other 3. You have to
Okay,
choose one. So we have Parasite, the 2020 Best Picture winner.
right.
We have Titanic. You probably know these by heart, don't you? The years.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, and that's actually one thing. Like Parasite, it won in 2020, but it's a 2019 film. So,
2019 film.
yeah,
Yeah.
best picture
So
of 2019.
yeah, so we'll just say the year that it won.
Okay, gotcha.
So 1998 Titanic, Return of the King 2004, and then last but not least 2023 Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Yeah, for a moment, I thought I knew right away, but I think I actually have a different answer than when
okay,
you first brought this up. I had an instinct reaction, but I'm going to change it.
okay.
So the one I'm keeping is Titanic, and get rid of the rest.
Really? Okay. Let's hear the logic. Let's start with Parasite.
So, I mean, Parasite, I love. I love that movie extra because um, that's the movie. That movie came out the year my twin daughters were born, and things I love most in life: my daughters, the Oscars. So I just like put put those together. So I think that's really cool. I'll always have like one. It's a great movie, but then also it's the movie that came out the year my daughters were born. And then Everything Everywhere All at Once. I mean, I like that movie, but I don't think it's been around long enough for me to feel like it's like Pantheon has to stick around, like
Okay.
maybe years down the road, but a lot of times newer films, I like to let them marinate for a
Okay.
while in the culture before I,
That's
say, hey, that's one of my favorite movies.
that makes sense. That makes sense.
And the instinct one was Lord of the Rings: Return of the King, just because sci-fi fantasy. It's probably my
Right.
favorite genre. I
Hmm.
think that's one of the greatest achievements in cinema ever. Uh, but
Beautiful.
it's a part three. So you need one and two in order to have part three. So
That's
just to
true.
watch part three, you're missing a lot of information. Titanic, you got that complete whole story. Also, my wife loves it a lot, so
Okay.
we'd be
Yeah.
able to still watch it together.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
and yeah, I love Titanic. Yeah, I saw that in the theater when I was well, I guess I was in junior high, so I was a kid, but an older kid.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah, lots of
That's
good
fair
memories,
enough.
man.
That's fair enough. I might have to go with Return of the King. I understand your points with Everything Everywhere All at Once. kind of like let it marinate, let it, let's see how it does like years in the
Right.
future,
Yeah.
and does it age well? I feel like it will. I think it
Yeah.
will. But it's kind of soon. Um, Parasite, I love it. It's just not as epic as Return of the King.
Right.
It's not as epic. It's a great story. I personally think Parasite's kind of funny. It has like these funny moments,
Oh yeah.
but then it gets to be like a thriller. I love the kind of roller coaster it goes on.
Yeah.
Titanic, it would definitely be between Titanic and Return of the King.
Okay. Cool.
I love both of these movies, and Titanic is one of the most epic love stories out there in cinema.
Hmm.
Um, and I too saw Titanic in the theater when they re-released it.
Oh,
I
really?
was yeah, and that was the first time watch for me seeing it in the theater, so that was awesome.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
That's a good
it
way
was
to
first
be
time watch,
introduced.
right? And yeah, I just have to say Return of the King. I think the rewatchability for it is a little higher than the rest of the three.
Yeah.
I don't know if the rewatchability went into a factor for you, but you say yeah, you can rewatch it with your wife and enjoy
Hmm.
it and things like that. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and
Um,
Return of the King definitely has a high rewatchability factor. Another
mhm,
thing with that one, when I look at all three films, all
mhm,
three Lord of the Rings movies,
mhm,
that one I think is the only one that I have maybe a problem with. Like there's
okay.
an issue I have with it, and that's, the Ghost Army. That they're a
Mm,
little too overpowered, I think.
okay.
And um, so I guess I can like dock a point for that too. Where if it were
Okay.
Fellowship of the Ring, that would be harder. Sure, I'd
Yeah.
still say, well, it's only one part of a three, but I have no issues with
Hmm.
Fellowship. And
I
then
me either.
yeah, I mean, I think that's a perfect film. And then Two Towers is just maybe a little actiony for me, I guess.
Mm,
Like I like action, but sometimes my eyes can glaze over after a while.
yeah,
I still love that movie,
totally
but I don't like
understandable.
have a problem with it. I don't have. There's no glaring issue in Two
Hmm.
Towers for me. It's just I might my mind might wander a little bit.
Hmm. I
Yeah.
feel the same way with Two Towers. Not necessarily because of the action, but there are a lot of dialogue sequences that are not as interesting as other sequences in the film.
Right.
Mainly with the trees.
Oh, the end.
Mary and Pippin, and like the extent of those sequences and
Right.
how long they are. I know some people are gonna come for my throats for that, so it's okay. It's okay. But Two Towers is the lesser of the three for me.
I agree.
But anyway, so your choice was Titanic. My choice was Return of the King.
Hmm.
Both great choices. Now we're gonna move on. We're gonna get into our questions. Um, as so let's just lay it out there. You love the Oscars.
Oh yeah.
That is one reason why I wanted to have you on here as well. Talk about your thoughts on the Oscars. So the first question here I have is, what is your all-time favorite Best Picture winner?
Well, so your opener kind of it was there.
Oh, it
And
was okay.
yeah, so my all-time favorite is Return of the King.
Ah, okay.
So
Oh, you got the got the
yeah,
physical.
yeah, I brought it out here.
Nice, nice,
Um, but that one, yeah, I got all my Oscar films right over here, so they are in arm's reach if we need to pull any out.
nice,
Um,
nice.
but yeah, that one, it's sci-fi, or it's not sci-fi, fantasy. It is fantasy. I usually group those together. That's why I said
Hmm.
that. But yeah, it's fantasy, and that is rare, extremely rare for the Oscars. So I love that it's a genre film,
Hmm.
and one that they usually don't recognize. I think it's one of the greatest achievements in cinema, hitting so many different categories. I mean, it got all those nominations for a reason because it's very broad in what it was capable of doing. Special effects and practical effects and makeup and costume and all that type of stuff. Um, and it's so epic. It's incredibly epic, and I like the epic best picture winners. I may not like every single one, but I like the idea of grandness
Hmm.
being a part of what equals a best picture. Not every time though, but I do a lot of the times. And so I thought maybe I should pick two for this because that one's very contemporary.
Okay.
Well, maybe not anymore. A lot of years have passed, but
Yeah,
it still
yeah.
feels contemporary. But another one of my favorites from one of the older ones is Marty. And this is an example where the Best Picture winner is not grand at all. It's just a tiny, small, little love story about a guy who wants a relationship, has had a tough time getting in one his entire life. It's very much like Rocky, but
Mhm.
without the boxing. So think of him as Rocky Balboa. And then he meets basically an Adrian, and both of them are kind of down on themselves. They're like, Rocky thought he was dumb and Adrian thought she was, not attractive. And that's kind of how what we see in this movie. It's Rocky without the boxing. So,
Okay.
yeah, best picture of 1955.
Okay. I will
Mm.
have to add that to my list. I have not seen that one,
And
but
it's actually based off of a television show from the early days of television when TV was live broadcast.
oh.
So it was like they were basically live broadcasting plays,
Hmm.
and that's what this is based off of.
And it's called Marty,
The show.
yeah, the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Nice. All right, moving on to number two. What will be the first Best Picture winner that you will show your children or watch as a family?
So, well, that's kind of funny.
It's
You already you already had it up.
okay.
Um, so that one would be I'm guessing. I mean, I don't know. I got some other ideas, but let's see. I think it might be Titanic.
Okay.
I watched this as a family film. My mom, my sister, and I, we all saw it in the theater, and it, has a historical aspect, but also has the added love story, to it. And yeah, I don't know. I like Elizabeth, my wife, who
Hmm.
like this is one of her favorite movies of all time. So I know she's really excited to show it to the girls.
Hmm.
I'm really excited to show it to the girls. But also, I feel like some other accessible movies would be like, Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
This one I saw when I was a kid. I think I
Hmm.
was in, what would I have been, third grade, or the summer between third and fourth grade or something like that.
Okay.
And this is the movie that kind of got me into the Oscars.
Really?
But yeah, maybe this one, and then also maybe Lord of the Rings if they're really into fantasy.
Hmm.
Maybe that will be the first one they see. So those are kind of the
Hmm.
three I've
So
always
it's
had in my
three.
mind.
Okay. Yeah, those are some really good choices. I actually saw Forrest Gump in class. They showed it in like my seventh grade class.
Hmm.
There were some scenes that they had to fast forward, but
Yeah.
not a whole lot.
Right.
But yeah, those are some good choices. Moving on to number three. What is your favorite film to rewatch?
Well, when I was
Are you gonna say it's funny? That's funny that you say that.
no, not this time.
Okay.
No, that
All right.
that is funny though. Um, no, like when I was a kid, it was basically whatever VHS I had. I was always rewatching uh, the films that I had. I think a lot of kids who grew up with VHS did that. They
Mhm.
had this select group of films that they had, and they just rewatched them, rewatched them, rewatched them.
Been
Um,
there. I've been there.
yeah, so that's why like '90s family films, '90s kids movies are a lot of the movies that I've seen the most in my life, just
Mhm.
because we were always rewatching them.
Mhm.
But today, a movie that almost won Best Picture, and that is Social Network.
Okay.
So that one I like in the fall,
Mhm.
cooler weather, sweatshirt weather,
Mhm. Mhm.
that sort of back to school feel when you're kind of settling into school and the temperatures are cooling.
Mhm.
Um, I feel like that's what that movie has, with like college and everything. So I start thinking about fall a little
Mhm.
bit, and I really love Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross's score for it. And so it functions as a really great like background movie. And like when I'm working, I might put it on in the background. If I'm painting, I might put it on in the background. And then in like the warmer months, I'll put on a movie called Sideways, which
Okay.
was
I'm
also
not familiar with that one.
this was also nominated. Yeah, Best Picture.
Okay.
Yep, Best Picture and Director.
Wow.
Um, well, and Thomas Hayden Church, not Paul Giamatti. He should have been nominated. Um, but yeah, this was another one. It's very funny. It's two guys. So Thomas Hayden Church, or Sandman, as many people know him,
Mm-hmm.
goes on. He's about to get married, and his friend, the Rhino, uh,
That's hilarious.
go through like the vineyards of California, and then get in all sorts of trouble and things like that. It's kind of it's maybe it's a sophisticated hangover or something like that, you
Okay,
could
so
say.
it's kind of like a dramedy.
Oh yeah,
You would
yeah,
say it's a dramedy. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
2000s dramedy. Think of stuff like um, Little Miss Sunshine,
Okay.
Juno.
Oh yeah.
That kind of era of filmmaking.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The Descendants, Election. Yeah.
Hmm. Did I see Sandra Oh on the
Uh huh.
cover there? Okay, so Sandra Oh is stars in it as well.
Yep.
Cool. I know her from Killing Eve. I know most people know her from Grey's Anatomy.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Nice. So
Great, great
that's
cast.
another
Very
film I
funny.
need to add to my uh, watch list.
Yeah, and every time I watch it, like I'm laughing at something different that maybe I didn't pick up on, or it only gets funnier with age or something like that. Like
See,
I love
those are
it.
the best where you can rewatch a film and appreciate something different each time. Like I
Yeah,
love those types of movies.
and I think that might be my favorite contemporary setting drama, like not genre film.
Hmm.
Like I think that's my favorite one.
All right.
If I like had to, I don't know. Usually, the movies I like, I feel like are science fiction,
Hmm.
fantasy, again, superhero type stuff,
Yeah.
or somewhere in a genre, or you know, costume dramas from the past. But this one, like when it comes to contemporary movies, that one I think is my favorite.
Breaks the mold.
Yeah,
Nice.
and I don't even really drink wine.
uh, so the next question I wanted to ask is, what was your favorite theater going experience? What has it been?
So I think from what we're seeing on screen, this is like generic, but probably Avatar. You know,
Mm,
just
okay.
because I felt like we were seeing something that we've never experienced before. And I remember sitting there and those like little floaty like seed pods or whatever that were floating around. Like I was just watching the movie and then I remember going like this to move one of them out of my way so I could
Hmm.
see the screen.
Hmm.
And I was like embarrassed because I was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't, people behind me just watched me, try and shoo something away." Like it was just a
The people with the camcorders.
it yeah, right? It just, like, was this, like, real reaction that I had. It was, like, so the movie felt so tangible that I felt like I had to move something out of the way.
Yeah.
So that
Wow.
was really cool. But, like, another great experience I had, there's a film festival near me called Ebert Fest. Film critic Roger Ebert, he set this up, and it was sorta to highlight overlooked films or films that he thought deserved more credit. But sometimes they also do, mega hits and then just sort of re-release them in an anniversary setting. Like they had Forrest Gump recently. That movie was
Mm,
huge, so that's not like a forgotten film or anything.
mhm,
Um, but they invited Guillermo del Toro there and his movie um, Crimson Peak, and he was
mhm,
there. We got to watch the film with him, and he did a Q&A afterwards. But we watched Crimson Peak, and the movie earned a standing ovation. Like all of us stood up for it at the end. And then when he gets on stage, while we're all standing up and clapping, he's walking and he's like crying. He's like
mhm.
crying on stage because he felt that movie was like a failure and it was marketed incorrectly because he saw it more as a love story, a gothic love story. And he's like, they tried to market it like it was a horror film, and it's like, yes, there are horror elements, but this isn't a horror movie, you know?
Right, right.
I mean, it kind of is. It is,
Yeah,
but
it's like I've seen the film and
yeah,
it kind of balances those two pretty well.
right,
Um, I I did not expect it to have so much of a romance aspect to the film
right,
because I did see the trailers and I was like, okay, this is gonna be terrifying, you know, and
yeah.
it did have those horror aspects, but yeah, I didn't realize that his original vision was this romance.
Yeah, and that
That's
kinda happens to him a lot because Pan's Labyrinth, was
mhm,
sort of this was when, like, Lord of the Rings was coming out, the Chronicles of Narnia, Spiderwick Chronicles, Bridge to
mhm,
Terabithia, so it was just marketed like, hey, kids, it's another
yeah,
it's
right.
another fantasy film," and then it's, like, about World War II and R-rated and totally not for children, and he's
Mhm.
like, "What are you doing marketing my movies this way?" But yeah, he was like so happy that we loved the movie. He was brought to tears. He was like saying, "Thank you so much. Like you have turned me into a blubbering mess."
No.
I think he sort of felt like that movie was a failure, and then
Mhm.
he loved our response to it, and he's like, "This really made up for how I've been feeling about this movie for a long time." And it was just like emotional to see him respond that way. Like we were
Yeah,
all like, "Oh my gosh,"
yeah. You didn't expect that.
Yeah,
I'm
not
sure.
at all.
Yeah. Okay.
Might hear my kids running around upstairs. They're
That's all
getting
right.
pretty wild up there.
That's all right. We understand. Um, so I was gonna ask, what is your favorite movie theater snack? Your favorite movie snack? Your go to?
Um, so I don't know. Like when I'm at home, usually I'm just eating dinner.
Okay. Okay.
But
But
so like whatever that
like,
is.
if you're going to the theater,
Yeah, if I'm
what
going
would
to
be
the
your
theater, I like just popcorn with salt on it. I don't add any extra butter.
no butter?
I
Okay.
used to
Mm-hmm.
until I worked at a movie theater, and you get all the free popcorn you want there, and all the free butter,
Yep.
butter, all the
Right.
free butter you
Right.
wanted.
The
Yeah,
oil
yeah, we had to
flavored
call it
butter.
when we were serving it or ask people if they wanted it, we had to call it buttery flavored topping. "Would you like some buttery flavored topping?" But
That's
I overdid
hilarious.
it on that stuff, and then
Mm-hmm.
I, like, grossed myself out on it, like, I just
Mm-hmm.
had way too much of that butter, so now I'm, like, repulsed by it, but I still love popcorn, and I still love, salt on it. For a long time, I didn't eat popcorn after I worked there, though,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm back on it.
That makes sense.
Um, so
Um.
I like just popcorn. Candy-wise, um, I like Reese's Pieces, I like Junior Mints. I
Okay.
mean, I like a lot of those candies. When I was a kid, it was always Milk Duds
Oof.
or
That's
Lemon Heads, which I don't think you get
that's.
Lemon Heads at theaters anymore. I
I
don't
don't
see
think
them.
they. No, I don't think they sell them at the movie theaters, but I always see them at like the dollar stores.
Yeah, and then there were, like, these sweet tarts that came in a package like this, and they were giant. I don't know if they still make them. They were,
Mm.
like, really big sweet tarts, and they were
Hmm.
chewy. I liked
Okay.
getting those a lot when I was a kid too, but anymore, it's just popcorn, maybe Reese's Pieces, maybe some Junior Mints, whatever my kids like.
Okay. Yeah. Just share. We're gonna share them. Yeah, I get that. All right.
Yeah.
So I have a two-parter for this question. What is not your go-to, but it's still pretty great for a theater snack?
Um,
Have you
maybe
ever like ventured out and got something kind of like, oh, a warm pretzel, or I'm gonna get
ooh.
some tenders today, or you know.
Well, I did do tenders once because I was, like, so hungry, didn't have time to eat beforehand, and
Hmm.
our theater just started doing, like, warm food like that.
Hmm.
So, yeah, tenders, I like those. I also like nachos.
Okay. Yeah.
And back to candy, snow caps.
Yeah, I think snow caps are very underrated.
Yeah, and a lot of it, I mean, it is just like chocolate, but it's the texture. You
Hmm.
put that, like, the cap part on your tongue,
Yeah.
I don't know, it just feels
And
good.
they have like the little beads. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the little beads. I
Yeah.
like it for the texture
Yeah.
more so than the flavor, but I feel like they are underrated.
Yeah. A snack that's not my go-to, but I tried at the theater was um vegan nuggets. They had impossible nuggets
Wow.
at the theater. And I was
Ours
like, let me try this. Like I mean, I was vegetarian for a while, for about 7 years. So like I'm not a stranger to like impossible like products.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, let me try how they prepare these, and they're actually really good. Like I love them. Sometimes
Yeah.
I get them from the theater, and they give you, you know, a dipping sauce. They get you like a honey mustard or a ranch or whatever for the nuggets, but they're
Yeah.
actually pretty good.
I don't think our theaters have advanced into impossible stuff yet. So yeah,
Yeah,
I haven't had anything like I do like impossible burgers, but they're so expensive. But
they are, and
yeah,
I was very shocked that they had it. It was an AMC, so I was
okay.
very shocked that they had the Impossible stuff. But I saw it on the board, and I was like, let me try it.
Yeah, we
It
do
was
have an
pretty good.
AMC, so maybe I should check that out.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think you might like it. Have you ever had the nuggets, like frozen or anything?
No, I've from there, no. I think
No, just
I've
like in the grocery store at all.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay, yeah. So
Not
it's probably pretty similar to that.
not impossible nuggets, I guess, but
Hmm.
just
The
nuggets. Yeah.
meatless. Got you. Got you. Moving on to the next question. Okay, right here, I want to shout out Elizabeth. She is awesome. Hi.
I'm
What?
sure she's waving back.
Yes, yes. What was your first date night film with your wife, and how did it go?
So this was a movie I don't own, but I probably should
Mhm.
get,
Yeah.
called Anna Karenina.
That's Keira Knightley, right?
Yeah, Keira
Yeah.
Knightley,
Okay, I'm familiar.
like Joe Wright, who did
Pride and
gosh,
Prejudice.
yes, thank you. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Pride and
Yeah.
Prejudice, those types of movies.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we saw that. I remember some of it. She says she doesn't remember much about it at all, the movie itself.
Yeah.
And but it's kind of funny because I feel like I was always like bad at dating because I never wanted to um I don't know, be too pushy or something like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
So like when I would like leave dates, and this was before Elizabeth too. Like I
Mm-hmm.
I was just always bad at this. It was just kind of like we saw the movie, and then it was like, well, see you later. I don't know. I just
Right.
didn't know. Maybe it was just awkwardness or something, and I just didn't know how to you know follow up after that. It was just like
So
we watched
that's
the movie.
how the film went after you guys seen
Yeah,
that
it
one.
was
Okay.
it was just kind of like, oh, that was pretty good, right? Maybe talk about it in the lobby a little bit, and then I was like,
Yeah.
well, gonna head home. you know.
Well, I mean, there was a
So
second date, so you must have done
yeah,
something right.
yeah, and actually, one of the cool things about that, though, we saw in our independent theater, the art
Okay.
theater,
Yeah.
and eventually, we got married in that theater. So our first date movie was in
Wow.
our independent theater house, and then we used that as our wedding venue where we got married. So that's kind of the
That's
cool part. The movie
yeah.
itself isn't cool, but the
Yeah.
location is much cooler story.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I love
And that
that.
was that was like my dream wedding. She wanted a small one, like in a backyard, inviting very few people.
Hmm.
But I always grew up wanting to get married, and in my head as a kid, it was always in a multiplex theater,
Hmm.
like um just use one of the theater rooms as the wedding venue. And then
Yeah.
as I grew up, it was like, well, probably something a little more unique would be a better place.
Hmm.
Still a movie theater, but we went to our independent house, and we had like two of those. One was super fancy and super expensive, and then the other one was kind of like a dive theater, which is the one we saw Anna Karenina in.
Hmm.
And yeah, made for a great venue.
Nice. That's awesome. Next one is name any actor or actress that when you see them on screen, you're instantly interested.
So that's got to be Tom Hanks.
Okay.
That's not necessarily like it's not necessarily true that I will see the movie, but I'm
Hmm.
always interested in it. Sometimes critics get to it and audiences get to it before I do, and then I kind of lose interest in it. But
Hmm.
I hear his name and it's like, okay, this is one I'm probably gonna see.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, like I think I'm trying to think of like the first. There's a movie he did. It was like a science fiction movie called I think it was called The Circle.
Okay.
Do you remember that one? And I think
I heard of it, but I didn't
yeah,
know that Tom Hanks was in
like Emma Watson is in it.
it. Okay.
and audiences and critics got to it and kind of like panned it, said it was no good. So I still haven't seen that one, but I remember when it was announced, it was like, okay, look at this, we got Tom Hanks in a sci-fi film, especially when he does something super genre or not typical of what he does. Like when it's a biopic, I'm a little less interested,
Okay,
but
that makes sense.
anything else, I'm always like, all right, I like when he does interesting stuff. I haven't seen it yet just because, kids and everything.
Hmm.
But his Asteroid City with Wes Anderson, like I'm
Yeah,
pumped to see that.
I'm
I can't
excited
wait
to
to see
see
that.
that
It
too.
just wasn't
I haven't seen it either yet.
yeah, it wasn't in theaters for very long just because it came out in the summer. So, all
This
those movies
summer,
that were
this summer
failing.
was jam packed
Yeah,
with films,
yeah,
like packed with
yeah.
films. So,
And like
I was talking to my buddy, and I something is gonna fall through the cracks. No matter who you are, unless you live at the theater, you're
right.
going every day.
Yeah.
You're gonna miss something. So, it's understandable. You miss Asteroid City. I did too.
Yeah. I think
But
it's on
Peacock.
Peacock?
It's on
Peacock.
Peacock right
Yes,
now.
I'll
Hmm.
get to it soon.
Yeah, same. I'm gonna check it out. But Tom
Yeah.
Hanks, that's a great choice. Great actor.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Um, what is your favorite animated film? Is it one from
So
childhood, or is it one recent, or in between?
no, this one, or it's from childhood, and honestly, I
Okay.
don't even know how to pick one because I grew up like at the perfect time for did Disney to have their animation renaissance. So, like, I was here. We have the Disney Renaissance, basically,
Hmm.
right here, or the important films
The
of it.
import.
So,
It's like,
Little
where's
Mermaid.
Pocahontas?
Well, I that's kind of when I got
Yeah,
out
no,
of it.
I completely understand.
Yeah, but these 4 right here, they these were my childhood animated movies right
Yeah,
here,
yeah,
along with, The Land Before Time, which is, Don Bluth, but, um, yeah,
you got Little
little
Mermaid, Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, and Aladdin.
yeah, I guess I should put them in order of release. And one that's missing because these, between Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast was, Rescuers Down Under.
Yeah, I hear that that one's really good.
Yeah, my wife really likes it, and
Okay.
I only saw it like once when I was a kid. I didn't buy it. It was a box office flop for Disney.
Hmm.
Um, but very important film because it was the first feature length digital film ever made. So
Really,
it's
I
like
did not know that.
it's extremely historical
Hmm.
and important for that reason, even though it's kind of a forgotten movie in a lot of circles. But yeah, I was like the perfect age for all these movies to come out. Like I was in, I think, kindergarten or preschool when Little Mermaid came out, and then probably kindergarten, and then third grade I think when Lion King came out.
Gotcha,
It was a good
gotcha.
time.
Kind of sticking with the older films. What is the cheesiest '80s film you can think of?
Um, Man, there are so many, but
There are
what
so
else?
many.
Yeah, like I thought about Critters. That one's really cheesy. Ghoulies and Killer Clowns from Outer Space, but ultimately, I don't know. The ones that I have, the one that I think I guess I have the best story for.
Hmm.
Have you ever seen Masters of the Universe?
No, I haven't. I've seen the TV show, the animated series,
You have
but
seen it? Okay.
yes,
'Cause
I have seen the
I
animated
was
series.
wondering because I know I'm somewhat older than you, so I wasn't sure. I guess so
Not
you
by a
probably
whole lot.
well, but I mean, Masters of the Universe was 80s.
Yeah,
Or yeah, the cartoon.
the
So maybe
cartoon.
were
Yeah,
you watching reruns, I guess?
yeah, reruns. Yeah, I wasn't
Yeah.
seeing it live.
So yeah, I mean that movie is very cheesy and it was so different than the show, you know. And I remember that's the first movie I ever saw in the theater, Masters of the Universe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I went with my neighbors, they took me. Um, I remember the drive there. I kept asking my friend's dad. I was like, is this person going to be in it? Is this person going to be in it? And I think like now I can reflect and realize I was annoying him with all those questions.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember going to see that, and it didn't. It was a good preparation for my future movie watching, especially adaptations,
Mhm,
because it was not like the cartoon at all. It was very different from the cartoon, missing so many characters from the cartoon.
mhm. Were you
Um,
let down by that at the time?
I think I think I was confused by it more so than let down,
Mhm,
because it was still just a cool experience to go see a movie and see He-Man and everything. But it again, it was good preparation for when you see an adaptation. Don't expect the source material. And the
mhm,
source material technically is just toys. Masters of the Universe were toys before it was a cartoon.
mhm,
So yeah, don't this is another product. It's a different product. It's different. You have a different artist making it. So yeah, I think it was a good lesson for if it doesn't match the comics superhero movies, it's not that big of a deal.
okay. That's a good one. I have yet to see the film, but I have seen the series, and it's good to know that it's not the same.
No, and they come to Earth. So
Oh, well, yeah,
yeah,
that in itself is different.
yeah, and you got Courtney Cox in it from Friends.
Oh, I did not know she was in it. Nice. Getting closer to the end, but I want to ask, how long should a movie be, and how long is too long?
Oh man. Okay. So I hope it's okay to to say that you gave me these questions beforehand. So I
Yes, no,
prepared.
that's fine. No, that's
Okay.
perfectly fine.
So yeah, I prepared this. I wrote something down. Something Roger Ebert, who I mentioned earlier,
Hmm.
famous film critic. Um, this is one of his quotes: "No good movie is too long, and no bad movie is too short." Or sorry, nope, nope. Let me say that again. I messed that up. No good movie is too long, and no bad movie is short enough. So bad movies need to be shorter.
Yeah, I
Good
see.
movies, if it's long and it's still good, it's fine. Because there are, like Lord of the Rings, the extended editions. I got behind me right there, and pulled the other one out here.
Hmm.
Um, I have no issue watching those. I never think they're too long. You know, yeah. Again, with Two Towers, my mind might drift a little bit, but I'm not bothered by the movie's length.
Hmm.
Um, but then, I just watched a 2-hour movie last night, and I was like, this could have been shorter.
Hmm.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
it's not. I wouldn't say it's a bad movie, but it could have been improved by being shorter. So,
Can I ask what movie it is?
Taps.
Okay,
Um, it's
I don't
a
think I'm
Tom
familiar with that
Cruise
one.
movie when he was really young.
Okay, I don't think I'm familiar with that one.
I don't know where I put it. It has Sean Penn is in it. Timothy Hutton is in it. Giancarlo
Hmm.
Esposito. Yeah, he's in it. So
Hmm.
imagine all these people very young.
Okay.
Yeah, as children basically. They're like teenagers
Wow.
or
Well,
early 20.
wow. I know Giancarlo Esposito was in what's the film? The Spike Lee
Do the right
film,
thing.
Do the Right Thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember his character's name's bugging out, but I couldn't think of his real name.
Hmm.
Thank you
Giancarlo
for that.
Esposito. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So that's a good answer. If the movie is good enough, it could be what, 3 hours maybe. I don't know. I can't go probably past 3.5,
Yeah,
4. I know they're the I think the Irishman is about 3.5.
yeah. I
Um,
would I would like for movies that are extra long like that to bring back intermissions.
mhm, yeah.
Like find a spot in the film to introduce an intermission,
Hmm.
like purposefully. Like um The Hateful Eight.
Yeah.
I think I know Tarantino did like a road show for it,
Hmm.
and I
Hmm.
think in the road show he did an intermission. I
Okay,
could be wrong, but I think he did.
but that wasn't like
And
part of the theatrical
yeah,
release. Okay.
o- only for his road show. Like I don't think
Okay.
it was that way when you just saw it in the theater, which
Hmm.
I think I did see in the theater, but not as a road show.
Hmm.
Um, I'm pretty sure he did do that.
Hmm.
But like, a lot of these old Oscar movies, Lawrence of Arabia, Gone with the Wind,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, you have these intermissions, and I think they're welcome. Ben-Hur, they're
Hmm.
nice.
Yeah.
It gives you a chance to. It's a. I think it's a nice spot to, if you're watching them at home, for the movie to give you permission to pause and maybe pick it up an hour later, a different day,
Yeah. Yeah.
where otherwise it just feels like you just randomly stopped the movie. So I
Yeah.
like that it's like permission given. And honestly, I think with the Lord of the Rings movies, that would have been a really cool, those would have been really cool movies to have intermissions with if he would have released his extended editions in theaters.
Hmm.
Like, do a really cool intermission card
Yeah.
somewhere in the movie.
I think that could definitely be helpful. For me personally, my attention span is it's got to be really really good movie. It's got to be a really good movie, and I have to be completely locked in and interested for me to be focused the entire time.
Right.
So this is one reason why I greatly appreciate miniseries. And
Huh.
um this was done with, you mentioned the Hateful Eight. The director's cut of Hateful Eight was broken up into episodic form,
Right.
which is not for everybody. I know not everybody likes episodic forms of a movie. Like, it's kind of a weird concept, but I was able to digest the film so much better with that. So I guess it just comes down to preference with that. But yeah, there are some movies that I feel like should be shorter, but like you said, it might just not have been that great of a movie. you know,
Right.
it just might needs to be, a little condensed. But last question, but definitely not least, because I want to get into your channel a little bit. Um, I wanted to know, what is your secret to stay motivated to make a video every day? Because if you guys don't know, this man makes a video every day. I commend him for that. I do. How
Uh,
do you stay motivated for that, man?
yeah, I think it's because I fear not having motivation,
Hmm.
and routine, ritualistic activity keeps me going. Like,
Hmm.
I have this fear that if I skip a day, if I'm like, oh, I'm really tired, maybe I
Hmm.
just won't do it today. I might turn that into 2 days. I might turn that
Hmm.
into 3 days. And
Yeah.
next thing I know, a month has gone by, and then I'm not even doing YouTube anymore.
Yeah. Yo,
you know?
that's, hey, you're explaining my life. That's how it is for me. That motivation, I kind of struggle with that sometimes, but like, sometimes you'll message me and say like, "Yo, when is ChannelVerse coming back?" And I'm like, "Yo, I got to bring this back."
Yeah.
And like I said, you inspire me. So
I appreciate that.
I am so glad to have you on today. That is going to be all the questions that I have for Derek today. I got to have him back on the channel
Oh
very
yeah,
soon. I got to do that,
it'll
because
be fun.
not having him on here is a crime. I love this man. So if you do, you have any like upcoming videos or collaborations that you want to talk about before we get out of here?
Nothing fully set in stone yet. I'm just kind of busy with work. So right now, like
Hmm.
when that happens, if you see me doing a lot of random rankings,
Hmm.
that means my life is busy
Okay. Okay.
because
Yeah.
those are very easy to make. If
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
making, vlogs and things like that, longer form content, it means I have a little extra free time to do some editing. But
Hmm.
yeah, the random rankings, I just come down here and find 3 movies and then talk about them really quickly, and then I can get them up, in like 30 minutes. So
Yeah, and you don't really
yeah,
have that much editing to do with those.
yeah, not at all. Yeah,
Nice.
I can be pretty crisp with them.
Nice.
So yeah, but yeah, I'm just I'm looking forward to October, because I always do my Halloween advent calendar where
Hmm.
my wife and I we have an ad, or I guess in Halloween it's not technically an advent calendar, but we call it that. The lead
Yeah.
up to a Halloween countdown
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
countdown calendar, and in each pocket we put in a movie title, and then we pull out whatever that random movie title is. It's usually a horror or fall based film, and I'm looking forward to that, diving back into horror on a regular basis.
Yeah, I love that you guys do that, and we saw that you guys did it, so we did it in December of last year, and that was a ton of fun.
Yeah,
We
yeah, we
we
do it for Christmas too,
mhm,
and it's a lot of fun. With Christmas, we're rewatching a lot of movies that we've already seen,
mhm,
because there aren't that many.
right.
But with Halloween, it's just great, endless horror
You
movies to
got
choose
yeah, you
from.
got tons of horror movies
Yeah, so
in fall movies.
we put in classics that we love. We put in we put in movies that we've never seen. It's kind of a mix.
Yeah, that's awesome, and we took a page out of your book doing that. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
we might do that in October as well. Last year I went a little too crazy in October, watched a lot of movies, so I might do like a 13 days of Halloween
Oh yeah, that might be
for
good.
this
Yeah.
year. Kind of cut it down a little bit, but yeah, we're going to get out of here. Thank you again so much, Derek, for being here. You guys check out Pure Hangouts YouTube channel and Instagram. His links are going to be down in the description. And thank you for watching, and we will catch you next time.